NFL season. Let's do this on the football. Here we go.
I am very happy to be here.
Bartholomew. Bart from Detroit. How's Dad doing this morning?
Dad took a double dose of his medicine yesterday.
That's a rough day. Graziano's ready to roll. We have so much to do when you know where it begins. Dallas is our first stop. Dak and the Cowboys. Patrick and the Chiefs. The game of our lifetimes. Halfway through the first, Chiefs are taking a 7-0 lead. And then Dak is looking for CD, and we have an early shootout.
You have a double move right here on Trent McDuffie. Coming off of a game where he dropped a ton of balls, CD Lamb comes up big early.
Both quarterbacks in their bag early. Chiefs, this is a 3rd and long, and it's playoff Patrick running for it.
Hey, Patrick Mahomes hit him with the dead leg. DeMarvion Overshown. Well, he was the spy. He was blocked up, and Patrick Mahomes doing what he does in the biggest game.
And that's what they did yesterday was go for it on 4th and goal, didn't he? That's Travis Kelce in the back of the end zone.
He said it was over for Travis Kelce. They might have been wrong.
Chiefs take a 14-7 lead. Now back we go the other way. Bart, the one thing the Cowboys are doing is running the ball.
And that's shoddy. That's a staple, a little bit of Marty Ball for Thanksgiving.
That's Malik Davis with a 43-yard run. Cowboys up 3 at halftime. Now we go to the 4th. Chiefs down 20-14, and RC on a 4th down play. Look at Patrick extending.
Listen, you have to go for all the money. Rasheed Rice was huge all day with 92 yards, 8 catches, none bigger than this one.
Yes, 2 touchdowns for Rice on the day, but look at Patrick keeping the play alive, and the Chiefs take a 21-20 lead. Ensuing Cowboys drive 3rd and 8, the first of the plays of the game.
Listen, if George Pickens lands this hurdle, it's the play of the year. George Pickens shows time and time again that he is truly a #1 receiver, and the talent is off the charts. Now it's matching the attitude and the production.
He had 6 catches, 88 yards, and that sets up this. Look at this nice play by Dak on the 3rd and goal.
We've seen Dak Prescott start to create with his legs more than we've seen in years, and no play was bigger than this one to Javonte Williams, and he follows it up with the great play of the 2-point conversion.
Which they get, so they're up 28-21. Now 10 minutes in the 4th. Cowboys deep in their own territory, but there's CD Lamb.
Steve Spagnuolo showed you last week against the Indianapolis Colts. He is bringing pressure in the most important times. CD Lamb one-on-one with Kamari Connor, big-time throw by Dak.
And then after Dak was almost intercepted on a 2nd down here.
Oh, no!
Fumbles.
Oh, yeah!
Turpin.
Hey, KaVontae Turpin playing until the whistle, running to the ball. This play saves the game.
Absolutely. That's as big a play as there is because it turns into 3 points. Now back we go the other way. Hollywood Brown, back of the end zone. Dan, they will not go away. It's 31-28.
This is still there. Don't let the Chiefs get into the playoffs. This is still there.
I got ahead of myself. This was the unbelievable play from Mahomes, avoiding all the pressure and finding Xavier Worthy for 42 yards.
We've seen this dude do this before in the most important moments and biggest plays of the game.
And then, as I foreshadowed, this is Hollywood Brown in the back of the end zone with a touchdown. Mahomes throws 4 scores on the day. It's 31-28. And now, this final drive on a 2nd down. The Chiefs are using their timeouts. We got pass interference. Is this a good call?
This is a good call, right? He was supposed to be inside man. He holds on to George Pickens. He grabs him. He turns his body. That's the definition of pass interference.
2 plays later, Lamb catches this one anyway, but they do throw pass interference. Is this a good call?
Listen, this was not a good call, but good thing he caught the football anyway.
Caught it anyway, and then just over 2 minutes to go on a 3rd down. They've got Pickens. Dak throws for 320 yards, 2 touchdowns. The Cowboys hang on. They win at 31-28. Here's Dak after a hard-fought win.
We can be whatever we want to be. Everything's in front of us. I just was telling the offense of that when we were in, those kneel downs at the end of the game. But it's not going to happen next Thursday. It's going to happen, Sunday when we get in the building. We're still put ourselves in a tough position. Doesn't mean that we got out of it just because of the 2 teams that we've beat. Next week's just as important as this game was.
What a great win on Thanksgiving Day. So what a Thanksgiving we have about this bunch. I don't think I've ever been in a more appreciative locker room than the game that they played today against a mighty special team.
My gas.
Is there a greater visual, I ask you, than Jerry Jones standing there holding a turkey leg on the day after Thanksgiving, celebrating a win? But let's give credit to this group. RC, in the last 5 days, This team just beat both teams that were in the Super Bowl last year. They fell behind in both of the games. They showed resiliency. They show offensive explosiveness. They make enough big defensive plays, and they are back in it. What's the number one reason?
Well, the number one reason is Dak Prescott and his duo of wide receivers, CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. And right now, there's no trio in all of football who are playing at a higher level than these three men. And what we saw from Dak Prescott yesterday was understanding that at the start of a football game, he's going to work to CeeDee Lamb, and then late to finish, he can go to George Pickens. Here, you're going to see a one-on-one with Trent McDuffie on the sail route. He's going to get the football to him because he sees the man in the middle of the field. Now, this safety's playing too tight into the line of scrimmage, too tight into the quarters, and he's going to get a double move on the outside by CeeDee Lamb versus Trent McDuffie. And watch this layered throw by what we see from Dak Prescott, puts it in the back of the end zone. And here is where George Pickens starts to step up. We're going to see a blitz, and on the blitz, we know right away we can get the football to George Pickens, and the safety is leaning away from Pickens to CeeDee Lamb. He gets to the outside, and here's the play that we were talking about, jumping over the last man, almost landing it and getting into the end zone. And this is the play that seals the deal. You're going to get a 3-by-1, which means everyone else is opposite of George Pickens. And watch the way Javonte Williams pulls Jaden Hicks out of the throw area right to where George Pickens is going. And I feel like Brian Schottenheimer has done a great job of finding ways to get CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens the matchups you need to win. And that's what having a 1A and a 1B wide receiver do for you.
It's like basic football, but when you got great players, it's so hard to stop. That is a simple slant flat right there. That is a shoddy special all the way back from the Jet days. But you really have to tip. I have to tip my cap to Jerry Jones. He should stick his chest out like a peacock, because they have lived up to the expectations. He said he was going to fix the defense. We knew this offense was Super Bowl caliber. Dak Prescott is playing the best football of his career. And if they get in the tournament, they're the most dangerous out potentially in the game. And listen, he outplayed Patrick Mahomes. We all thought that when Patrick Mahomes came down, like, oh, God, here they come. But Dak Prescott said, you know what? And Shotty said, I'm going to throw my way to victory. I'm not going to run the football, let them call their timeouts, punt, depend on my defense. I'm going to put the game in the hands of Dak Prescott. And all that drive, when they responded, it was all slants and throws by Dak Prescott, reading the defense and making the right plays.
Not only that, the confidence that he showed tonight, backed up in his own end zone, right? There were a couple of series there where they're really good punting by the Chiefs, and the Cowboys keep taking over deep in their own territory. Nothing conservative about it. Stayed balanced, trusting in their quarterback who's playing out of his mind.
Can we talk about that play right there?
Yeah.
When Dak had 9 seconds to throw.
Yeah.
You know, everybody want to talk about this rookie, you know, and saying, oh, they took a guy from Alabama.
Tyler Booker.
Tyler Booker put a masterclass against Jalen Carter, and he just ragdolled one of the best defensive tackles in the game. Look at this: 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. Like, get your hands off me. Listen, he over there yoking up one of the best players in the game. And listen, Jerry didn't miss on that. It wasn't a sexy pick, but man, he is playing his ass off.
They know how to draft offensive linemen. There's no doubt about it. Look, you talk about confidence. That's the word with Dak Prescott. I go back early in the season. I had a game of theirs on a Sunday. It was a crazy one against the Giants that went to overtime.
Yeah.
And after the game, Dak's sitting there in his press conference, and somebody asked him a question, and he goes, I've been telling you guys, rehab went really well. Like, he came into this season feeling fantastic physically. He came into this season knowing he had another number one wide receiver in addition to CeeDee Lamb. So that confidence, and obviously they've built a run game, and Brian Schottenheimer calling plays at a high level, the two of them, obviously a good mix. So confidence. All they needed was a defense that could make a stop every now and then. And you see it. They get Mahomes out on the move a little bit and fluster him a little bit.
Brian Schottenheimer should be in every Coach of the Year conversation. I know we're going to look at the sort of the career, the resumes, right? We're going to look at the records and say, well, maybe he's not doing what Vrabel doing, or he's not doing what McVay or McDonald is doing. No coach has shown more leadership than Brian Schottenheimer. No coach has had to deal with your best player being shipped off to the Green Bay Packers. No coach has had to deal with what they dealt with, the tragedy with Marshawn Nealon. And no man has led in the manner that Brian Schottenheimer has led. And the one thing that he controls is how this team shows up to every game. And then the thing that he controls in game is the X's and O's of the offense. And this offense has been Super Bowl caliber the entire year. The last 2 games, not only were they playing against the 2 teams that were in the Super Bowl, they were down to both of those teams in their own building. building with a quarterback that people says can't come back, a quarterback that can't compete, a quarterback that shrinks in the biggest moments. He's played at an MVP level, and Brian Schottenheimer deserves a ton of credit because people questioned his hire this offseason.
And everybody judges the coach on like game management and fourth down decisions and all that, but what happens behind the scenes is so important, and I think it's such a great point about how he has led this team. Going back to the offseason, I mean, talking to players there, like what makes him good. They talk about how he got people together in the offseason, not just the players, but with their families. Yeah. And the players will say, like, he wanted to make sure that everybody knew why each other is doing this. Yeah. Like, and so he's connected with them on a level that goes beyond what we see on Sunday, but I think obviously that manifests itself in their performance.
And you talk about how long he waited, right? He was a head coaching candidate when he was there with the AFC Championships with the Jets, and he waited a long time. He had to go around the league. And everybody questioned, like you said, but his leadership and also his toughness. It doesn't feel like Club Med anymore in Cowboy land. It seems like everybody they have a sense of toughness, mental toughness, and physical toughness as well. Because they also ran the ball to the tune of 137 yards, which is a byproduct of having those great receivers when you got to have them two high safeties. You talk about, the touchdown, the CD at the bottom. That's because that safety had to take that trip formation. Shotty is teaching a master class, man, and I'm so happy for him.
You're making such an important point. Brian Schottenheimer, at some point in this journey, went to college. I mean, he was back in college coaching and all that kind of stuff. He took a very circuitous ride from being a heavily sought-after candidate to being basically an afterthought, and now here he is. And in a situation that is unique in the entire NFL, there's no other situation like the one that he's in. It does feel like he manages to be the leader there without obscuring everything Jerry Jones wants to be. And that is a very difficult line to walk, and I feel like he's getting it.
Think about this, though, and obviously the circumstances have dictated that we go inside the locker room of the Dallas Cowboys. Right. But remember the first win against the Las Vegas Raiders after Marshawn Nealon passed on Monday night. And the tears in his eyes, those were genuine. Like, that wasn't bullcrap. That wasn't for the camera. That's being real, and that's understanding what it took for those men to come together and win that game. And then in the locker room again, after you beat the Philadelphia Eagles, he was like, you might not have to win the first. And he went through all the quarters. He's like, but you got to win the fourth. When has the Dallas Cowboys in the recent decades been the team you expect to win the fourth quarter against a defending, reigning champion? And then now to come into this week in a must-win situation, not only for you, for the greatest player in the world who played his absolute butt off trying to save his team, and your guy outplays him, that's belief in your preparation, that's belief in who you are, and all of that starts with Brian Schottenheimer, who has managed to be the face of this team when nobody else can in that position.
The biggest sales job that he did was to George Pickens. It didn't start off so great for George Pickens. He was coming off, walking off the line. He looked unengaged. And at some point, Shotty had to pull him to the side and say, hey, we're going to need you. And CeeDee Lamb goes down, and man, has he balled in since then. And now when CeeDee comes back, this is maybe the best 1-2 punch in all of football because of the versatility of the route running, right? You got CeeDee Lamb that can run route runs, but also, I mean, George Pickens just a physical freak. You said it a couple years ago.
Now, everybody was mad at me.
Yeah, but it took a while for him to develop and mature. But this is a mature, engaged, locked-in George Pickens, which is dangerous, which opens up their offense and makes it virtually impossible to stop on a consistent basis.
You guys made the point. No one's going to want to see them in the playoffs, right? I mean, they're not in the playoffs now. Their chances of making the playoffs remain fairly remote. They probably need to run the table, and will they do that? Obviously, who knows?
Arizona game's going to come back to bite them in the ass.
They lost that game. They lost a game. The Panthers, they played very badly on a Monday night. I remember coming in here the following morning and basically just saying,
Monday night game with Arizona.
They're done. Was that the Arizona game? That's right. There was the Arizona game. There was also a Carolina game they lost.
Terrible.
That they looked terrible in. And I remember just basically saying, that's it. I mean, they just don't have it this year.
How about them Cowboys?
And it might have been. Like, they might not make it back. They might not get, I mean, they're in a hole. But so much to feel good about, like in terms of the direction of the franchise, right? Like, the Schottenheimer hire was laughed at by everybody.
Quentin Williams,
Micah Parsons trade, obviously, but Schottenheimer stuck with Eberflus when it was lousy, and we're going to get healthier, and they got him better players.
They should run the table.
How important is that game?
They should run the table.
So yesterday on First Take, I said I felt like if they won this game against the Kansas City Chiefs, they could run the table Next week's going to be an absolute fistfight against the Detroit Lions, who are coming off of two losses. Right, they're not healthy, but they're going to come to play, and you know that with Dan Campbell.
Sure.
That's going to be another opportunity for Brian Schottenheimer to show how he can get his team prepared for a particular moment, because that game looms extremely large now.
It's next Thursday night. Yeah, we're going to get to the Lions and the Packers in just a couple of minutes here. But that's next Thursday night. And if you look at the rest of it, if the Cowboys win that game,
done.
I think they're going to get in.
Absolutely.
I think this run has a chance to go all. We've been looking at this 3-game stretch.
That division's falling apart.
Chiefs, which which division? The NFC North.
Just the NFC altogether.
The conference.
The Lions are limping to the finish line. I don't think the Bears make the playoffs.
Well, we'll see. We'll see them today.
A big thing is this, though. We have to give Jerry Jones credit.
Yeah.
Everyone wondered, would he make a move at the trade deadline? He teased it with Stephen A. Smith and said, I got something coming. And Quinnen Williams has changed this defense, but they've also gotten healthy in other places where people were on the roster already, and that is paying huge dividends for the Dallas Cowboys.
That number 0, DeMarvion Overshawn, all over the field, much speed.
Jerry proved that he can chew gum and walk at the same time. Make $100 billion on gas and still make a trade the next day.
Listen, you got to give credit where it's due.
Yeah.
We sometimes talk about the Cowboys because they're the Cowboys. Now we're talking about them because they really look like a good team that something special might happen for. We're going to do the Chiefs side of this game a little bit later. But let me get you to the early game in Detroit. Packers.
No. About this, though, and obviously the circumstances have dictated that we go inside the locker room of the Dallas Cowboys.
Right.
But remember the first win against the Las Vegas Raiders after Mark